Welcome to Black Tie Optional. I'm Sydney.
I'm Colleen.
Let's get into it.
All right, so we are so excited to start this podcast.
Yes, this is like 2 years in the making.
Yes, 2 years in the making. Now, let's just dive in. What is this podcast?
So this podcast is going to be an informative space for, I would say, engaged couples.
Okay.
Looking to be engaged couples.
Yes, if you're like a future fiance or
your person is your person. We are here to help people that are planning weddings. We are here to help other vendors or people that are trying to get into the wedding industry.
Right. How can vendors successfully work together?
Yeah, I think that's honestly, when we first started talking about it, that was the main point.
Yes.
Is Colleen does video.
Yes. And we'll also kind of dive into what we do, but we just want you to know what we're going, what you can expect from us.
Yes. And so as a photographer, I'm going to give you all of the tips and tricks and things like that to be successful on a wedding day. Things that I would normally do.
Exactly. And then things that I would do as a videographer. And even we work with every vendor we work with, essentially. We have to come in contact with, and how can we work good with them? And how can we get along? How can we be a team player?
Exactly.
So if you're newly engaged, or if you're a vendor and how can I work better with other vendors?
Exactly.
Our long-term goal for this podcast would definitely be going to venues, going to florists, going to all these cake, what would you call cake people?
I mean,
bakers.
Bakers.
Going behind the scenes so you can see in the wedding world, because the wedding world is so exciting.
And it's so vast, and there's so much that goes in on the back end that people, they have no idea.
Whenever I talk to our couples, I'm like, oh, how are you doing? In the planning mode, and they're so stressed, and anyways, they're so stressed, and I'm like, people don't realize when you go to a wedding and you sit there and you're like, oh, this is so nice.
Yes.
And that couple went through so much stress.
Yes. And 100% every time I get a couple on the phone, especially for the first time, I'm like, how's it going? Everyone, like you said, is I'm so stressed out. And I'm like, listen, that is everyone. People put on a facade if they say they're not stressed, unless they hire a full.
Even with a full planner, I mean, I'm a control freak, so even with a full planner, I would still be stressed.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, so let's dive into who you are.
Okay, so I'm Sydney. We're located in Arkansas. I have been doing photography pretty much my whole life. I'm a 5 generations photographer, so this has been in my family for a super long time. I have 2 kids. I'm a wife. That's crazy. Not a housewife, let me tell you. I mean, that's pretty much just me as a person. I'm a pretty chill person, I would say. Easygoing, artsy fartsy, creative.
What would you say is your style, your photography style?
I mean, people say I'm super colorful. I love color. When people call me and they're like, oh, we're doing every color of the rainbow, I'm like, sign me up. But I do love a good black and white. But I would say vibrant, colorful, very documentary style. I know a lot of people, they like vertical images. I shoot a lot of horizontal because I feel like it's super documentary.
I feel like, not that it's it's on trend right now to shoot vertical.
Yes.
Because of Instagram.
And I'm not a trend. So I tried, but I'm not. And so how I got into the industry, so I actually had a birth injury with my son that caused partial paralysis, which is so wild. My legs would just stop working for 2 years. And so I worked at a hospital. I couldn't go back to work. And this was before the photography boom. I picked up my camera, started taking pictures of my son because honestly, I was super depressed at home. And people just started asking me to take pictures of their families, which is actually how me and Colleen met. I took photos.
We were one of your first clients.
Yes, one of our mutual friends, Lydia, was the first client, and then Colleen was my other client.
Stuck with her since.
Yes. And then I had friends from high school that were like, hey, will you photograph my wedding? And I was like, sure. And it's crazy. And I guess this is how naive I am. I did not know that people would pay me to take photos.
I mean, because it's on the outside, it seems like such a fun job.
Yes.
It is. It is so fun taking someone's pictures or videos or documenting that life. If you could just do that and then hand the card, I'd be like, I'll do this for free.
Yes.
But it's It's the back end, the business side,
yes,
the editing part that people don't realize. That's why you're paying us. It's not because we're celebrating you during the day.
No, that's not it at all. I would do that, like you said, for free, hands down. It's all of the back end. So that's a little bit about me. In terms of like weddings, like my clients, I would say are like middle class, average, everyday people. I don't do a ton of like high end things, which Colleen, they do a lot more, I would say.
We do a mix, but
more higher end stuff. I get a few of those a year. They're always super fun. I enjoy it. But so yeah, that's a little bit about me and like my business. So.
Okay. Hey guys, just wanted to take a brief pause in the episode to tell you thank you for supporting our podcast. It would mean the world to us if you could subscribe to whatever platform you are listening on. Let's get back to the episode. So then to me, how we got started was Sydney. On the back end, my husband and I have always worked together and had like different businesses. So we were used to always being together, and we had a YouTube channel for our other business. So we already had camera equipment. I kind of knew how to edit, like not professional at all, YouTube Academy kind of thing.
Yes.
And Sydney was like, we cannot find videographers. We can't find videographers to recommend to people. And I was like, oh, Zach and I could do that.
Right.
That's my husband. So I'm Wild Bloom Films. You're Sydney Sly Photography. So I don't know if we mentioned that, but I'm Colleen, and then my husband Zach, we work together. So Sydney wasn't our first wedding.
No, you had a friend.
Oh yeah. I had a friend. My friend wanted me to be in her wedding. And if you know me, I am behind the scenes kind of girl.
Amen.
Do not like to be in front of people. And she wanted me to be a bridesmaid. And I was like, listen, that gives me anxiety. I don't want to do that. But I would love to film your wedding and give that to you as a gift. And she was like, oh, you can't do that. And I'm like, no, I really can. Like, I would totally do that. So we did that. And I was like, wow, this is so much fun. Then Sydney gets married. Mm-hmm. We filmed her wedding. That was a lot of fun. And then my cousin got married. So it was kind of like we had working up. So my cousin got married and we went and did her wedding, and that was a lot of fun. And then we got our first paid wedding, which was $500.
LOL. Yeah.
But I was like, wow, this is so much money.
Yeah.
I
think my first wedding was like $300. So yeah. I mean, again, didn't think that people actually paid you to do this.
But also, I mean, like our first wedding I shot in like auto.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
So, anyways, long story short, got into the wedding world, and Sydney just recommended all of her clients to us. Like, we would not be where we are today if Sydney didn't literally broadcast us out there.
I don't know about that, but...
No, truly. That, like, got our foot in the door. It helped us, build our portfolio. It helped us learn manual, like, all these things, editing, step up, like, our craft and everything. So that's how we got started, and then we took off from there, and I absolutely love weddings. Like, I could do this forever.
You know what's funny I think about sometimes is like when y'all first started, and I would try to be helpful with like settings and stuff, and I'm like trying to show her like camera settings, and those of you that don't know, photo and video are so different. I gave her all the wrong instructions other than ISO.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, poor Colleen, I probably led her down the wrong road.
No, I mean, when I'm telling you, we watch so much, like so many YouTube videos. But so I will say, like, coming in as a videographer standpoint, that I know that like some people who just jump into videography world, it can be harder to work with photographers.
Yes.
Because you don't get the whole vibe. And that's why I feel like we were so lucky, because we just joke that we were trained by Sydney. Like, we know what to do on a wedding day. We know how to work together and not be in each other's way. And that's something that we want to talk in a further episode, because
100%. Because I mean, I feel like newer video people, even photo, I mean, just new people in general, you don't have that spatial awareness, like that body awareness. And I know that that's something, if I'm working with somebody new, that I come across a lot. They just get so wrapped up in the moment and they're excited, and I get it. They just are acting and not aware, like, oh, I'm in this person's way kind of situation.
Like, especially second shooters a lot of times.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other topic again that we could travel on down the road. So, but yeah, that's us. Kind of us and what we're here to do, and we hope that you guys are here for it.
Because also we want to have guests. So like, if obviously we're based in Arkansas, but we want to have guest photographers, guest videographers, guest venue owners. Like, we want to kind of talk to everyone in the wedding world.
Right. And like, we travel. I mean, Colleen and Zach, y'all travel
Yeah.
just for vacation and stuff all the time. And I mean, like me in a couple months, I travel out of state twice. So we're definitely open to traveling
exactly
for that too. So
yeah, that's exciting. So that's us. Our first, so we're going to drop like 2 episodes just so you guys can see, number one, who we are. This obviously is not going to be an educational first video.
No, this is a little intro. This might not even be 30-minute long episode.
No, it might be really short. You guys know who we are so that on our next episodes, you can kind of go into that knowing who we are. But our next episode, we want to talk about content creators.
Oh, yeah.
Do we like them? Do we love them? Do we hate them?
Do we? I
don't know. We have stories.
I know. So y'all are going to have to come back.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's kind of it.
Yeah. So let's wrap up this episode and then we will head into content creators. Do we like them or not?
I don't know. Do we?
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
As we finish this episode, we want to say a big thank you to all of the support on our podcast. You can find us at Black Tie Opt Podcast. We are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you so much for supporting our podcast.